3 years ago, I walked away from my marriage with nothing but a duffel bag and a set of motorcycle tools. Today, I wake up in a small house near the water. I run my repair shop. I drink my coffee in silence every morning. And for the first time in a long time, that silence feels like freedom. My name is Michael. I'm 47 years old. And if you had asked me 10 years ago what happiness looked like, I would have pointed at a house filled with noise, a wife in the kitchen, and two boys running through the hallway. Back then, I thought that meant I had a family. Now I understand something different. Sometimes what looks like a family is actually just a place where you slowly disappear. But let me start from the beginning. I met Deborah when I was 34 years old. She walked into my motorcycle shop with a Yamaha that refused to start. Black leather jacket, confident voice, two kids waiting outside in the car. Leon was 7, Malik was 5. She was 2 years older than me, recently divorced, trying to rebuild her life. And I remember looking at those boys through the shop window while I worked on her bike, thinking something that would shape the next decade of my life. Maybe this is where I'm supposed to be. Maybe this is the family I never had. I didn't grow up with much stability myself. My father worked constantly. My mother kept everything together the best she could. So when Deborah started coming around the shop more often, bringing the boys, asking questions about bikes, it felt natural. I liked the chaos. Leon asking 1,000 questions about engines. Malik sitting quietly on an old stool, watching everything. Deborah leaning against the counter, smiling at the way I explained things. After a few months, we started dating. And when things became serious, I told her something very clearly. If I step into your life, I'm not just dating you, I'm stepping into their lives too. She nodded. That's exactly what they need, she said. A year later, we got married. I was 35, and I believed I had just become part of a team. I had no idea that I had actually just stepped into a role no one intended to give me. For the first couple of years, everything looked normal. School runs, soccer practices, weekend breakfast. I helped Leon fix his first bicycle chain. I taught Malik how to change oil in a motorcycle engine. Small moments, the kind you think slowly turn strangers into family. But there was always something subtle I couldn't quite name. A distance, not hostility, not anger, just a quiet line between them and me. The boys still talked about their father sometimes, phone calls, old vacations, stories that existed long before I arrived. And I never tried to replace him. I wasn't interested in that. I just wanted to build something new. But the older they got, the clearer the line became. Leon hit 13, my luck turned 11, and something shifted. Rules became arguments, simple requests became reminders. You're not our dad. At first it was small things. If I asked them to help bring groceries inside, they would turn to Deborah and ask, "Do you need help, Mom?" Not me, her. As if my voice had never existed in the room. It happened again and again and again. The boys grew into teenagers, but they never grew into my family. They became experts at what I can only describe as the passive-aggressive ignore. A look past you, a question directed around you, a silence that says more than words ever could. And Deborah called it keeping the peace. Whenever I tried to address it, she would sigh and say, "They're still adjusting. They're sensitive. You can't push them too hard." I believed her because I loved her. That's the thing about love when you're deep inside it. You start explaining away things that should never need explaining. I remember one afternoon very clearly. I had come home early from the shop. Deborah was on the phone with her sister in the kitchen. She didn't know I was standing in the hallway. I heard her say something that changed the way I saw everything. Michael is a good man, she said. He's reliable, he really is. Then she paused. But lately he's just demanding. He wants all this respect, and he doesn't understand the bond I have with my boys. Demanding respect. I remember standing there thinking, demand respect? I wasn't demanding respect. I was begging for the smallest shred of humanity. I was working 60 hours a week at my shop, paying for school supplies, sports fees, gas money, saving for college, for kids who sometimes wouldn't even look me in the eye when they asked for it. And still, I stayed. Because I loved her. Because I thought love meant endurance. The moment everything became clear didn't come during a big fight. It came during something very ordinary. Leon's 18th birthday. By that point, we had been married more than 10 years. I had saved for months to buy him a watch. Not an expensive luxury piece, just a solid mechanical watch. Something meaningful, something that lasts. We went out to dinner, nice restaurant, soft lighting, the kind of place you take someone when you want a moment to matter. Throughout the entire dinner, the conversation stayed between the three of them. Old family vacations, stories about their father, inside jokes I didn't understand. I sat there quietly, waiting for a moment to enter the conversation. It never came. When Leon opened my gift, he looked at it for maybe 2 seconds. Cool. Thanks, Mike. Mike. Not Michael. Not anything else. Just Mike. Then he closed the box and turned back to Deborah to talk about the car she had promised him. The car I was expected to help pay for. I paid the $400 check in silence, and something inside me finally settled. Not anger. Not even sadness. Just clarity. You cannot earn a place in a heart that has already decided you are a stranger. That night I went home, packed a small bag, left the house keys on the counter, and sent one message. The mortgage is paid for 3 months. Don't call. I was 46 years old when I walked away from that house. For the first few months, the silence felt strange. When you spend more than a decade in a house filled with voices, arguments, doors slamming, television noise, silence almost feels unnatural. But slowly something else appeared inside that quiet. Space. Space to think. Space to breathe. Space to hear my own thoughts again. And that's when I realized something important. I wasn't leaving because I hated family. I left because I wanted one. A real one. For years I had been trying to force myself into a place where I was never truly accepted. I thought if I worked harder, loved harder, sacrificed more, eventually it would turn into something real. But love doesn't grow where respect is missing. Now I'm 47. My motorcycle shop is doing well. My house is small, but it's mine. And the strange thing is, I don't feel bitter anymore. I don't hate Deborah. I don't hate the boys. They simply reminded me of something I should have understood much earlier. You cannot build a home on a foundation where you are not welcome. But here's the truth people don't expect when they hear my story. I still believe in family. I still believe in sitting at a dinner table where everyone actually wants you there. I still believe in building something together with someone who sees you, not as a convenience, not as a provider, but as a partner. The difference is, this time I won't rush it. This time, I'll listen to what my instincts are telling me. And this time, I won't stay in a place where I slowly disappear. Because a real family shouldn't make you feel invisible. It should make you feel like you finally arrived somewhere. My name is Michael, and losing that life was the first step toward building the right one.